Sword Art Online is a terrible anime, and the game in it is just as bad. On the other hand, Free Guy is way more fun to watch, and the game Free City is way better. Let's take a look at why Free City worked and SAO failed.
In this video, I'll break down the Free Guy movie and analyze Free City. The movie begins in the MMORPG Free City. Players wear sunglasses, and NPCs, or non-player characters, don't. That's how you spot the difference. Players drop into the game from the sky, similar to how it works in Fortnite Battle Royale. Players can do anything they want in the game, such as hijacking cars and robbing banks. Free City is very similar to a lot of real games like Grand Theft Auto, The Sims, and Fortnite Battle Royale. We meet an NPC named Guy and follow his morning routine. Guy has lived in Free City for his whole life. He's unaware that he's an NPC who lives in a video game. Guy works at the bank with his best friend and security guard, Buddy. The NPCs in Free City are uniquely designed, so it feels realistic. No two NPCs look the same. Games usually reuse the same assets for background characters. The bank gets robbed by a group of players. The NPCs are used to it and don't panic. A player named Molotov Girl buys proof of a secret level from another player. Molotov Girl speaks using a British accent filter. This demonstrates that you can change how your voice sounds in the game. Molotov Girl kills the other player, so PvP is allowed in the game. It doesn't seem like there are any safe zones in Free City. Players will have to constantly keep their guard up and worry about getting killed. Guy sees Molotov Girl walking down the street singing his favorite song. Guy follows Molotov Girl, but he gets hit by a train and dies. In real life, Molotov Girl is controlled by a woman named Millie. She's playing Free City in a coffee shop on her laptop. This proves that you don't need any fancy equipment or even a good internet connection to play Free City. The game's graphics look cartoonish. It's not hyper-realistic like we see in the movie. You play Free City in a third-person point of view instead of first-person. The user interface looks pretty clean and simple. Millie explains to one of the coffee shop employees that she has a lawsuit against the publisher of Free City, and the evidence she needs is inside the game. Guy wakes up and he goes about his daily routine again. So NPCs simply respawn when they die in Free City, which is generally how it works in other MMORPGs. Guy begins to deviate from his programming. He tries to order a cappuccino instead of a coffee, but plays it off as a joke when the other NPCs threaten him. During another bank heist, Guy accidentally kills one of the players, and he takes his sunglasses. The player that Guy killed is being controlled by a little girl in real life, so Free City doesn't have an age restriction despite the game being very brutal and violent. Games like Grand Theft Auto are intended for mature audiences only. Guy puts on the sunglasses, and he's able to see what the players can see. The plot of this movie is similar to the 1988 movie They Live. It doesn't make sense why players need to wear sunglasses though. They should be able to see all the extra stuff already without needing to wear additional accessories. It's uncertain if players can obtain another pair of sunglasses in the game, but the answer is most likely yes. Guy touches a health pack and his injuries instantly heal. Guy takes money from a dead player, so players drop money when they die in the game. It's unclear whether you lose all your money when you die or only a certain amount. Guy goes to an ATM and he withdraws all the money. You can't spend the money you receive right away. You have to actually go to an ATM and withdraw it from your account. That's very inconvenient. Free City was developed by a company called Tsunami Studios. Employees Keys and Mauser see a live stream of Guy killing the player during the bank heist. They think that Guy is a hacker disguised as an NPC and they go after him. Keys can't trace Guy, so he and Mauser have to physically log into Free City and confront Guy in the game. Keys dresses up as a cop and Mauser dresses up as a pink rabbit. Players have multiple different skin options in Free City. The income from the game most likely comes from selling skins. Keys and Mauser find Guy. They demand him to take off his skin, but Guy doesn't understand what they mean. Guy runs away, while Keys and Mauser pursue him. Keys and Mauser are able to alter the game as they're playing it. Guy escapes by jumping away. However, Guy gets hit by a police car, and he dies. Keys checks the number of players online, and it didn't change when Guy died. Millie and Keys are the developers of a game called Life Itself. The CEO of Tsunami Studios, Antoine, stole the source code for Life Itself after buying the rights to the game. He repurposed Life Itself and turned it into Free City. Antoine lied so that he doesn't have to give Millie and Keys the money or the credit that they deserve. Guy respawns, and he decides to wear a new shirt. Millie watches through some of her saved files, and she logs into Free City. Molotov Girl plans to break into a stash house to find evidence of her source code. Guy follows her there. Guy has a different pair of sunglasses on, which means that he took them from another player. Molotov Girl uses a portal gun, so either Free City is breaking copyright laws here, or Valve is allowing the game to use their IP. Molotov Girl believes that Guy is a new player wearing an NPC outfit. Guy offers to help Molotov Girl, but she works alone. Molotov Girl orders Guy to increase his level. Molotov Girl is level 195, while Guy is level 1. Molotov Girl mentions that players can level up by doing random stuff like robbing banks and carjacking people in Free City. Guy doesn't want to hurt innocent people though. Molotov Girl informs Guy that he can gain experience by being a good guy. Molotov Girl won't talk to Guy again until he gets to over level 100. Guy levels up at a a record pace. It should take a lot longer to level up this way. If it's much quicker to gain experience and level up in Free City by doing good deeds, then most of the other players would be doing that instead of committing crimes. Moreover, levels don't seem to actually mean anything in Free City. For instance, earlier in the movie, Guy killed the bank robber when he was level 1. We don't know what level the bank robber was, but he was most likely a lot higher than level 1. Being a higher level doesn't automatically mean that you'll win a fight in Free City. Guy becomes famous worldwide, and he attracts attention from various news outlets. Lots of YouTubers and Twitch streamers also talk about Guy. They call him Blue Shirt Guy. There's another bank robbery, and Guy stops it. He takes the player's sunglasses and gives them to Buddy, but he doesn't want to wear them. Keys helps Molotov Girl break into the stash house. Molotov Girl finds the proof that she's looking for, but security guards appear and shoot at her. Keys isn't able to do anything about it. Guy shows up. He and Molotov Girl fight the guards together. Keys wonders who Molotov Girl is talking to, and she says that it's the player in the NPC skin. However, Keys doesn't see any other players in the house. Guy and Molotov Girl ride a motorcycle to escape. Then they glide away. Antoine comes to the Tsunami Studios building. Antoine likes Blue Shirt Guy since people are talking about him and giving the game more attention. Free City 2 is coming out soon, and it's filled with bugs. It's not backwards compatible either, so nothing from Free City can be used in Free City 2. Antoine doesn't care since he wants to make money from the sequel due to the established IP recognition. Molotov Girl talks to Guy, and she still doesn't understand that he's an NPC. Guy takes Molotov Girl out for bubblegum flavored ice cream. Keys does some research on Guy and discovers that he's actually an NPC. Guy kisses Molotov Girl, which shouldn't be possible since there's no button for that in Free City. Molotov Girl tells Guy that her real name is Millie. In real life, Keys comes to Millie's apartment and he informs her that Guy is the first real AI. The reason why Free City is so realistic is because Millie and Keys developed code for the NPCs to grow in life itself. This is proof that Free City stole the code. Keys realizes that Free City 2 is a replacement for Free City. Everything from the game will be deleted when the update launches. It's unlikely that a game company would delete everything from their previous game when they launch another game. Lots of people still play the original game, so they would lose out on a lot of potential money. For example, Guild Wars didn't get deleted when Guild Wars 2 came out. Furthermore, EverQuest didn't get deleted when EverQuest 2 came out. Millie and Keys need to find the code in the game before Free City 2 launches. They only have 48 hours. Molotov Girl speaks to Guy. She shows him the player's hub. Molotov Girl tells Guy that this is all a video game and he's an NPC. His only purpose is to make the game more fun for the real people. Guy is very devastated to find out the truth. Guy goes to visit Buddy. Guy thinks that nothing he does matters since none of this is real, but Buddy disagrees. Buddy says that this moment is real, and there's nothing more real than a person trying to assist someone they love. Buddy knows all the security guards, and he helps Guy get the video clip from a player named Revengement Buttons. Revengement Buttons is a huge fan of Guy, and he hands him the video clip. Revengement Buttons is currently live streaming this encounter. Guy goes to visit Molotov Girl. The player's avatar doesn't disappear when they log out of the game. They stay in place until the player logs back in. That's a weird design choice. Typically, the player's avatar will disappear when they log out of a game and reappear when they log back in. They don't stay frozen in place. Molotov Girl logs into Free City, and Guy gives her the video clip. Blue Shirt Guy inspires players around the world to stop killing NPCs in Free City. Antoine is angry since people are busy watching Guy on YouTube and Twitch. They aren't buying Free City 2. Pre-sales are down 60%. Antoine wants Guy gone, but Keys informs him that it's not possible since Guy is an NPC. Mauser recommends rebooting the server, so Guy reverts back to being a normal NPC. There should be a warning to let players know that the server is being rebooted in case they're in the middle of something. Guy and Molotov Girl watch the video clip, and Guy remembers that he's seen the place. The server is rebooted, and all the players freeze as Free City goes offline. Guy is somehow able to move around for a while, which shouldn't be possible. The NPCs in a game are gone the moment the game goes offline. Additionally, if rebooting the server resets Guy's memories, then it would also affect the players and their items. This is more of a rollback than a simple server reboot. The server goes back online, and Molotov Girl talks to Guy. Unfortunately, he can't remember anything. Keys tells Millie that the reboot didn't erase Guy's AI code, it just needs to be reactivated. Keys based Guy on an NPC from life itself who couldn't meet a girl, but he never stopped hoping. The girl of his dreams is based on Millie. The NPC meets the girl one day, and his code gets changed. Keys thinks that Millie can do the same to Guy. Millie robs the bank, and she takes Guy hostage. Millie gives Guy some sunglasses, and she kisses him. There's no button to kiss NPCs, so Millie shouldn't be able to do this. The kiss reactivates Guy's code, and he remembers everything. Guy shows Millie an island in the reflection of his blinds that contains the life itself source code. Antoine forgot to get rid of the reflections. The island is still out there, but they can't see it because nobody can go past the waterline. Millie calls Keys, and he'll figure out a way. Guy encourages the other NPCs to stop being pawns. The other NPCs shouldn't remember what Guy did, since the server was rebooted and their memories got reset. The NPCs are all missing, and the players don't know what's going on. Antoine discovers that Molotov Girl is Millie. He wants to boot Molotov Girl from the game, but her account is spoofed. Antoine's only option is to kill her in the game and turn off respawn. It'll affect the other players as well, but Antoine doesn't care. Guy and Millie drive to the island while the game world falls apart. Antoine drops Dude in to stop Guy and Millie. Antoine speaks to Keys. He mentions that his game would have bombed if they put it out. Keys creates a bridge in the game to the island. Antoine fires Keys and orders Mauser to boot everyone from the game. It's up to Guy to make it to the island and show everyone that Antoine stole the code from Millie and Keys. They don't need to physically go to the island. If the island is in the game, then it's in the Free City source code as well, so they can look through that in real life. Keys streams the event to people around the world. Keys is lucky that the security guard didn't notice him using his laptop. Dude comes to stop Guy. Dude is a muscular version of Guy meant for Free City 2, but he's unfinished. Guy fights Dude, and he uses various items from other IPs, such as Captain America's shield, Hulk's fist, a lightsaber, a Fortnite pickaxe, a gravity gun, and a portal gun. Similar to Ready Player One, copyright isn't an issue in Free City. You can use items from movies and other video games. Guy is unable to beat Dude in a fight, but he puts his sunglasses on him. Dude gets overwhelmed and runs off. Guy and Buddy walk toward the island together. Antoine is desperate to stop Guy. He goes to the server room and begins destroying the servers with a fire axe. Mauser realizes that Antoine stole the code from Keys. Antoine fires Mauser. Most of Free City is erased from existence. Guy makes it to the island in the nick of time before being deleted. Antoine is about to destroy the last server, but Millie comes and tells him to stop. Millie wants the world she built and the people in it. She says that she'll give Antoine the rights to the code and he can keep all the profits. Antoine is skeptical since Millie is giving up millions of dollars. However, Millie doesn't need money or fame to prove to herself that she and Keys made something great. There's probably a backup of the Free City game somewhere, so even if Antoine destroyed the last server, the code could still be out there. Free City 2 is released. People don't like it. Antoine is in the crosshairs. Millie, Keys, and Mauser create a new indie game called Free Life using the code that they recovered. All the other NPCs from Free City are imported into the game. Free Life is similar to Free City, but it seems more futuristic. Since Free Life is using the same code as Free City, the game design is most likely very similar. Millie logs into the game and she talks to Guy in Free Life, so you can transfer your character between games, unlike Free City and Free City 2. Guy confesses that he loves Millie. It's revealed that Keys programmed Guy to be that way as a love letter to Millie. Keys based Guy's woman of his dreams off of Millie. Millie goes to meet Keys, and they kiss. Finally, the movie ends with Guy and Buddy reuniting in Free Life. They miss each other and decide to do whatever they want. Overall, Free City is a decent game. If you can look past the flaws, then it should be a fun and exciting experience. Since Free City is an open world game, players are free to roam around and go wherever they want. The missions in the game are rewarding to complete. Free City's world is dynamic and full of vibrant visuals. The user interface is clean and simple. The NPCs in Free City act like real people, so it adds to the immersion aspect. Furthermore, no two NPCs are designed the same. There are tons of players playing Free City, so you don't have to worry about not being able to find friends for group content. Players who care about fashion and aesthetics can change the appearance of their character whenever they want, and there are many options to choose from. You can play Free City on a laptop, and it doesn't require a good internet connection either, so the game should be accessible to most people in the world. Moreover, there's no age restriction, so anyone can play Free City. Similar to Ready Player One, copyright isn't an issue in Free City. You can use items from other games and movies in Free City, such as Marvel, Star Wars, Fortnite, Half-Life, and Portal. Free City is not exactly new or unique though, since it strongly resembles a lot of other games that already exist in the real world. There are tons of bugs and glitches in the game, and the developers don't care too much about fixing them, so you'll have to put up with that. Tsunami Studios doesn't seem like a great company, and they might shut down the game without prior warning. This could cause you to lose your hard-earned items, so you'll have to be prepared for that. Similar to most other online games, the community of Free City isn't very nice. Some players can be extremely rude and toxic towards you. Free City isn't compatible with the sequels, and nothing transfers over. If you play those games, then you're pretty much starting from scratch. The graphics in Free City look cartoonish. It's not hyper-realistic as shown in the movie. Let's move on to the suggested games section. Free City doesn't exist in real life, but there are many games similar to Free City that you can play. Grand Theft Auto Online. This is an online version of Grand Theft Auto 5. The game takes place in the fictional state of San Andreas, which is inspired by Southern California. Players can engage in cooperative or competitive matches in a huge open-world environment. Additionally, there are countless side missions. Fortnite Battle Royale. This is the Battle Royale version of the Fortnite survival game. 100 players are dropped onto an island. They have to find gear and fight against the other players. The playable area shrinks as the match goes on. The last player alive will win the match. Moreover, players can build structures and obstacles. The Sims. This is a series of life simulation sandbox games. There are no defined goals, so players have to make their own. Players can create virtual people called Sims to populate the game world and do whatever they want with them. There are numerous expansion packs. Red Dead Redemption. This game is played in a third-person point of view. Players can freely walk around in a massive open world that's based on a fictional version of northern Mexico and the western United States. Furthermore, there's an online multiplayer mode that allows up to 16 players. Saints Row. This is a series of action-adventure video games that take place in an open world. Players can complete missions and participate in various side activities. The game primarily involves shooting or driving and follows a fictional street gang called the Third Street Saints. Just Cause. This is a series of action-adventure video games that takes place on different island nations each time. The main objective is for the player to overthrow the governing body. Players can roam around in an open world. There's a main storyline as well as many side missions for the player to do. Watch Dogs. This is an action-adventure video game franchise that takes place in various fictionalized real-life cities at different points in time. Players can complete missions and side activities in an open world. The gameplay usually involves shooting, driving, and other occasional puzzle elements. Moreover, players will respawn near the area they died if they are killed. And that's Free City from Free Guy Analyzed. Free Guy received positive reviews from critics and audiences. The movie made $331.5 million at the box office and won several awards. Free Guy was the most successful original movie since the pandemic started. A sequel is currently in active development. The director stated that the sequel will be called Free Guy 2, Albuquerque Boiled Turkey, which is a reference to one of Antoine's jokes in the movie. Which movie or anime should I do next? Leave a suggestion. Check out some of the other videos on this channel.
As you can see, Free City is a better game than SAO, as it's way more fun and lively. In Free City, players can do almost anything they want. The game world is full of surprises, cool activities, and interesting character. Feels like a real, bustling place, making it super exciting to explore and play. SAO's game world feels flat and boring. The environments are repetitive, and there aren't many things to do beyond basic fighting and questing. The game lacks variety, and the battles get old quickly, because if they don't change much or offer any real challenge, it's like being stuck in a dull routine with nothing new to look forward to. Also, Free City is designed to be a lot more engaging with its vibrant and unpredictable nature. The game changes and evolves, keeping players on their toes. In contrast, SAO feels stagnant and uninteresting because the game world doesn't offer much beyond the same old stuff. This makes Free City a much more enjoyable and dynamic experience compared to the monotonous gameplay of SAO. Additionally, here's an analysis of God Wars from Grand Warlock Streamer.
Let's analyze the game design of God Wars in Grand Warlock Streamer. When a character triggers an ability called God's Roulette, they can use a random skill. It's kind of a downer, honestly. Leaving things to chance isn't fun, since you're probably gonna end up with a lame skill. In this game, there's a summoner class, just like in real MMOs, and they can summon dragons, which is quite awesome. The game is played using a headset, much like the Oasis and Ready Player One. Players can even sit in gaming rigs while playing. The guy gets a daily wage of 30,000 won for joining the raid, which is only about $23. That's such a ripoff. The game is named God Wars. Perhaps it's a nod to God Wars Dungeon and RuneScape. There are 1.8 billion players, and 15 million can sustain themselves solely from raid income. The 1.8 billion player count is insane. For perspective, even the most popular MMO of all time, World of Warcraft, doesn't come close to that number. It's estimated to have around 131 million players in total. Players can play the game within capsules. Similar to the virtual world arc in Yu-Gi-Oh!, there's no auto-targeting system, so players have to manually aim their attacks. This could lead to a ton of frustrations, as players are highly likely to miss their target numerous times. It's far from a relaxing game because of the need for precise aiming. The classes in the game are randomly assigned, and players can buy profession cards with real money to reroll a class. This is pretty terrible. Players can't even choose the class they want to play. It's a major turnoff for most people, especially since spending real money just for a chance to reroll their preferred class isn't guaranteed. This mechanic resembles those low-quality pay-to-win gacha games, and raises questions about the game's popularity. God Wars was released in the year 2034, so it takes place after the events of Sword Art Online, and before the timeline of Ready Player One. The main character is unable to log into his account due to an incorrect bio code. It would have been wiser for the game to stick with the traditional username and password system to prevent such problems. If security was a concern, they could have incorporated features like two-factor authentication for better protection. To create a character in the game, you need a character creation ticket, which means you have to pay money just to begin playing. The cost of 880,000 won for a single character, approximately $675, is incredibly steep. This price far exceeds the norm for typical MMOs, making it seriously pricey and inaccessible for many potential players. A lot of real MMOs are completely free to start playing. In this game, you'll find traditional MMO classes. The main character unexpectedly obtains the Archmage class, which is noted as a class someone else spent millions of dollars to acquire. The idea of someone spending millions just for a class seems ludicrous. It's hard to fathom why anyone would spend millions just to get a class in a game. It does seem pretty extreme, and well, a bit crazy, the game features a tutorial, which is beneficial as it guides new players through the basics, preventing them from feeling lost or overwhelmed. The font used in the game bears a striking resemblance to the font style seen in Sword Art Online. It's quite random that players who survive the tutorial for more than 71 minutes unlock a special title that significantly boosts all their stats. The duration of 71 minutes seems oddly specific. Additionally, the reward being a plus 10 boost is notably overpowered, especially when regular leveling up only grants a plus 5 boost per level. The imbalance in granting such a powerful boost from a tutorial quest will affect the game's overall fairness. It's puzzling how the main character has access to this hidden information, especially when others do not. It's unfair that he's the only one privy to such crucial details. This creates an uneven playing field among the players. Implementing a system where players can be force logged out if their heart rate gets too high is a good safety measure. It's commendable that there are safety measures in place to prevent potential incidents, similar to what occurred in Sword Art Online. The starting area being named Town of Beginnings feels like a blatant copy or ripoff from Sword Art Online. It's odd that a quest labeled as legendary turns out to be quite basic, like delivering an item to a sick and lost puppy. Typically, you'd expect legendary quests to involve monumental tasks, such as defeating the toughest boss or completing the most challenging raids, so it's strange why such a straightforward task would qualify as legendary in the game. Limiting certain quests to a set number of completions and restricting the number of quests an NPC gives each day isn't fair to all players. Everyone should have the opportunity to complete all available quests. It seems unreasonable for people to endure consequences within the game, such as being forced into the mining fields to settle debts with the Explorers Guild. They're not trapped in the game and can log out at any time. The game's mechanic of receiving a random skill card every time you level up introduces excessive reliance on luck and randomness. For many players, constantly depending on chance might not be an enjoyable aspect of gameplay, as it could lead to frustration rather than engaging experiences. It's unfair how the main character obtains an extremely powerful creature, especially considering he just began playing the game on this new account. Starting off with such overpowered items or entities right from the beginning disrupts the game's balance and progression for new players. Introducing unique skills like telekinesis for only certain players, such as the main character, might lead to dissatisfaction among others who don't have access to it. This creates a sense of imbalance, similar to the issue of unique skills seen in Sword Art Online, where not everyone had access to those abilities. A massive raid boss suddenly emerges, akin to a world boss in typical MMOs. Nearby players have the opportunity to team up and engage in combat against this formidable adversary, obtaining a drop worth 1.1 million won, around $843, from defeating a boss is a substantial amount of money. If similar earnings were possible in regular MMOs, top-tier players would likely accumulate vast wealth, potentially reaching billionaire status. It's unusual that the main character can use ranged attacks, despite not being part of the archer class. Letting players attack each other anywhere, without rules or level limits, makes the game a lot less fun. It means you'd always need to watch out for attacks, and without level restriction, higher level players could team up against lower level ones, which is extremely unbalanced. In the game, players have a karma score. Engaging in malicious acts, such as killing players or NPCs, lowers this score. This system is flawed. Activities like player killing and monster killing are significant aspects of MMOs. The karma score should decrease only if a player engages in behavior like harassing others, rather than participating in these core gameplay elements. Certain items in the game have side effects. For instance, wearing the complete Goblin Champion armor grants a 25-point increase in stats and boosts damage dealt against goblins by 10%. This mechanism is commonly found in MMOs, where wearing a full set of specific items rewards players with unique bonuses. The main character having the ability to see all card rankings, especially legendary ones, seems excessively overpowered. The card rankings are meant to be random, and obtaining a legendary card every time goes against this randomness. The pet gaining an ability like Treasure Hunter seems imbalanced, as it provides a significant advantage that could disrupt the game's fairness. Discovering a hidden dungeon exclusive to one player seems odd, and it's unlikely that developers would invest considerable time and resources into creating a unique dungeon. It's weird how the main character, who's an archmage specializing in magic, is depicted using melee attacks. This contradicts the expected abilities of an archmage, who should rely on magical skills rather than engaging in physical close-range combat. It's quite unusual that the monsters in the game have the ability to talk. Typically in games, monsters are portrayed as non-communicative entities. Having items bound to your account, preventing their trade, can be frustrating for players, especially if they're unable to use those items due to being a different class. A warning before picking up such items would have been helpful, allowing the player to decide whether to leave it for someone else who could benefit from it. The quests in this game appear to be quite basic and follow the standard formula seen in many MMOs, involving tasks like killing a certain number of mobs or delivering items to specific characters. The main character's ability to see hidden information, including the knowledge of which monster drops a special item with a 0.01% drop rate, seems overpowered. mode. The automatic logout feature for players who have continuously played for over 5 hours is unnecessary. It's the player's responsibility to manage their playtime for their well-being, and the game shouldn't impose a forced logout. And that's it for chapters 1 to 10 of Grand Warlock Streamer. There's a lot more to talk about, so if you would like me to continue, let me know in the comments below.
Also, for another MMO anime better than SAO.
In this video, we're dissecting Infinite Dendrogram. We're going to be breaking down the fictional game design and figure out if the MMO would be fun to play if it was real. On July 15th, 2043, the gaming world gets a jolt of excitement as the epic virtual reality MMO Infinite Dendrogram is released worldwide. Gamers don their trusty headset reminiscent of the Nerve gear from Sword Art Online. As they plunge into the digital realm, their real-world selves slip into a dreamy slumber, leaving behind the waking world to embark on virtual exploits. As players venture into the game, a mischievous cat NPC by the name of Cheshire welcomes them with a sly grin. The name Cheshire is a playful nod to the Cheshire Cat from Lewis Carroll's enchanting Alice Adventures in Wonderland novel. The main character settles on the username Ray Starling, but the character creation feels disappointingly plain. Ray merely sticks to his everyday appearance, swapping out just the hair color. In a game that's supposed to be all about endless adventures and infinite possibilities, Ray's unimaginative approach to character creation is quite a letdown. Ray also talks in his regular voice, which raises a puzzling question. How does the game pull off this uncanny feat of mimicking a player's real voice without any voice recordings on Ray's part? If you wanted to copy someone's voice, they'd have to share a voice sample, but even then, it's far from perfect. You'll notice awkward stops and strange pacing, messing up the natural rhythm of the voice. Gamers are handed a trusty bag to stash all their goodies, so it goes to show that there's a hard cap on how much stuff you can lug around. In the anime, the characters never run into storage issues, making this whole thing seem pretty unnecessary. Each player gets their very own embryo, a nifty sidekick that can morph into various forms as your journey unfolds. It's like having a dynamic buddy by your side, ready to grow and change right alongside you. Every embryo is unique and has a different ability. Think of them like the stands in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series. Ray chooses to join the Kingdom of Alter, but in this game, there's no grand narrative to follow, no hand-holding. It's a wilderness of choices where players forge their paths. So it's a sandbox and not a theme park. That's cool, but as the players inevitably dwindles down over time, a dark cloud of uncertainty hangs overhead, casting doubts on the game's future sustainability. A sandbox MMO can turn into a snooze fest when there's a shortage of players to join the fun. Players are quite literally tossed into the game, free falling from the sky. It's an odd choice for a game intro, leaving many scratching their heads. It just seems far more logical to teleport players to their chosen starting area instead of the skydiving spectacle. In a chance encounter, a woman collides with Ray, resulting in both his arms getting broken. This showcases that PvP is active across the entire game world. This setup hardly spells fun because, as illustrated by Ray's mishap, you could be peacefully going about your business only to find another player causing you harm unexpectedly. At the very least, towns and cities should be safe zones. The game boasts a unique language, and surprisingly, Ray can read it. But when he receives a quest, the shocking twist reveals that the woman Ray bumped into earlier was a game-controlled character, not another player. It turns out players can't even tell the difference between real players and these tricky NPCs. This mix-up is bound to brew trouble in the gaming world. Ray crosses paths with his brother Shu, who's wearing a goofy bear outfit. Shu lends a hand on the quest and drops a bombshell. When an NPC, an Infinite Dendrogram, bites the dust, they vanish forever instead of respawning. But if people join the game a few years down the line, they're out of luck on these quests because all the NPCs might be dead by then. Worst yet, some players could turn into total jerks and wipe out all the game's NPCs just to grief everyone. What's the plan when there isn't a single NPC left in the game world? The game developers seem to have skipped some serious brainstorming here, handing players an excessive amount of power that's not well thought out. Shu spills the beans on the game's harsh penalty system. When you kick the bucket in the game, you're slapped with a 24-hour ban from logging in. It's a terrible game design choice, really. Imagine getting smacked with a whole day of downtime every time you mess up and die in the game. It's a surefire recipe for frustration and could drive folks to ditch the game for something less punishing. It's pretty much impossible to avoid death in an MMO unless you're avoiding combat entirely and lounging around doing nothing. It's like the game's actively trying to chase players away. Ray finds himself in a fight against a colossal centipede, and it nearly wipes out all of his HP in one hit. With danger lurking at every corner, that pesky 24-hour logout penalty feels even more absurd since it's ridiculously easy to die in this game. To make things worse, players feel pain in the game. What's the deal with that feature? Getting hurt in here could lead to real-life shock, and that's just begging for catastrophe. Ray's embryo springs to life, revealing itself as a girl named Nemesis who can morph into a giant sword. Ray wields the sword and he wipes out the massive centipede in a single strike. It's a bit much, isn't it? One moment Ray's struggling and the next he's taking down tough foes without breaking a sweat. This game's in desperate need of some serious fine-tuning to level the playing field. Speaking of names, Nemesis feels kind of odd for an embryo. It carries a negative vibe, but embryos are supposed to be all about lending a hand to the player, not causing trouble. A more fitting name would be something like Ally or Associate. The quest finally wraps up and the gang's reward? Just a measly berry for each of them. After pouring in all that time and hard work to complete the quest, it feels like a pretty lousy payoff. If infinite Dendrogram existed in the real world, you can bet players would be fuming and airing their grievances about this letdown. Ray chomps down on the berry, savoring its deliciousness. Turns out, players can actually taste their virtual munchies, like in Sword Art Online. It's a double-edged sword though. On one hand, the yummy stuff's a treat, but if the grub's no good, it will be a real struggle to stomach. You can't help but notice the striking resemblance between this anime and Sword Art Online. It's almost as if the creator copied Sword Art Online and tweaked a few details to try and fly under the radar. It's not a smart move, especially considering that many people were disappointed with Sword Art Online and they don't think it's a good anime. In this game, players get a warning when their real-world bodies hunger or call for a bathroom break. This is a definite improvement over how things went down in Sword Art Online. At least players here have a lower chance of dying from hunger or dehydration, but the game needs an auto logout feature after a certain amount of hours. Some players might get so hooked on the game that they forget to stop and take a break. There have been many real-life cases where that kind of obsession led to dire outcomes, and players have died from exhaustion or heart problems. Ray lands himself a gig as a paladin. It appears that the game skips traditional classes, but goes with a job system instead. Ray finds himself under assault by a player killer, and he ends up losing his life. Now, Ray must wait a full 24 hours before he can hop back. It's proof that this game's design is a total train wreck. Any regular player would have simply switched to a different game by now. PvP everywhere, no level restrictions, unbalanced combat, and a 24-hour real-time ban if you die in the game. That's plain bad game design. Ray and Nemesis venture into a tomb labyrinth, a place that's pretty much your run-of-the-mill MMO dungeon. Nothing extraordinary here. But then they're ambushed by another player named Figaro, and it all stems from a mix-up. Figaro mistook Ray and Nemesis for monsters. This is a glaring example of why there should be a simple way for players to tell NPCs apart from real players in the game. Figaro single-handedly wipes the floor with a gang of player killers, and it's far from a fair showdown. He takes them down with ease. This is a prime example of why the game desperately needs some ground rules for the PvP. Players should only be able to duke it out with others in their ballpark when it comes to levels. Otherwise, the high-level hotshots will have a field day wiping out the lower-level players, leaving the defeated players steaming mad mad over the game's lack of balance. Ray and Nemesis set off to a new location, joined by a crew of other characters. There's Rook with his trusty embryo, Babylon, and the sharp-witted journalist, Marie. Marie has a unique skill that showers the entire party with extra XP in battles. But here's the kicker. She can't actually join them in combat herself. It's a head-scratcher, isn't it? Essentially, parties need to carry around a freeloader to snag some extra XP. But the real conundrum is whether it's even worth it. Having an extra party member who can participate in the fight might help them kill the monsters faster, racking up much more XP in the process. Ray and Rook team up to fight a pack of goblins. The combat mechanics in this game come off as rather straightforward. It's a virtual reality MMO after all, so players have to physically swing their weapons and dodge incoming attacks. No button mashing here, but you can bet this hands-on approach could wear players out. These full dive virtual reality games aren't exactly a walk in the park for people looking for a relaxing gaming experience.
Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a future upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.